The Edmonton Oilers pushed the Kings to a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. A Dodgers' tremendous rally goes to waste. And an LA Times columnist advances an idea for the Lakers to play like the Warriors. Because he's an idiot. We're going to explain why. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is May 13th, 2022. Hey, if you like the content we've been putting out about LA sports for the last couple of months, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. Because it tells you when we put out a new video. We try to do it between 9 and 10 a.m. every day. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comments. For I am not perfect. We are making the Lakers the main topic today because if they follow the advice of the LA Times, they will be crap for years. But before we get there, let's go to the scoreboard. Last night, Edmonton was on the brink of elimination, but hey, credit where it's due, 4-2 victory over the LA Kings. The series shifts back up to Alberta, Canada for a Game 7 on Saturday. In addition to that, the Dodgers rallied from 7-1 down, tying the game. But Philly wound up with a couple of runs in the ninth. Phillies 9, Dodgers 7. Dodgers lost 3 of the last 4. They're still in first place, though, by a game over the Padres, game and a half over San Francisco. I don't want to belabor the Dodgers too much, okay? This is the type of game last night that happens when you're playing 31 games in 30 days. Bullpens get taxed. Starting pitchers can't stretch games long all the time. It's going to happen. If the Dodgers wind up at the end of this stretch of 30 days, still being in first place, they're in golden position. So let's not panic. The NFL released its schedule yesterday. The Rams will kick off the season with a Thursday night game. They are the very first NFL regular season game. September 8th, they welcome Buffalo, and we will welcome back Von Miller, I guess. The Chargers will also play at SoFi Stadium in Week 1. They're going to play the Raiders. No chance in hell I'm going there. I don't like the inside of a jail cell. We've been talking about the Gold Cup. It's a soccer tournament for professional or semi-pro teams across the country, and it's already down to the round of 16. LA Galaxy has drawn LAFC, El Tráfico, in the Gold Cup, or in the U.S. Cup. Now, this is interesting to me. The game will take place later this month, because this U.S. Cup, it's not a major deal. So a lot of times MLS teams will rest their best players to play in MLS over the weekend. But it's El Tráfico. So are the Galaxy and LAFC going to say to hell with it and go for it? I'm interested to see what happens. USC football, they have added a 4th transfer since spring football ended, a junior college offensive lineman, Cooper Lovelace. Anything that deepens the roster, that's their priority there. In the meantime, USC and UCLA basketball have a nice little war going in terms of recruiting. Point guard Isaiah Collier of Marietta, Georgia, he could be the nation's top point guard. We don't know yet. The rankings come out later this month. He is visiting both USC and UCLA. He's not making a choice. He's playing the field, which frankly, if you're that important as a teenager, it's probably the best advice you could get to play the field. He's lauded UCLA coach Mike Cronin, says really impressed by the coach, very impressed by USC in terms of education and how hard they're pressing to land to recruit him. But again, no decision made. Lakers note, a second Milwaukee Bucks assistant has a shot at the job. The guy's name is Charles Lee. They've asked permission to interview him. I would say, what does that mean? A couple things. The first, Darvin Ham didn't seal the deal. So I don't know. But the guess here is, overall, the Lakers really like Mike Budenholzer, the Milwaukee coach. But Budenholzer's obviously happy in Milwaukee, so they're trying to recreate that. Know this. It's not just that Charles Lee is a Budenholzer guy, and it's not just that Darvin Ham is a Budenholzer guy. Kenny Atkinson, the former Brooklyn Nets coach who has interviewed for the Lakers gig, he is a former Budenholzer assistant. This guy has a coaching tree. He's getting a lot of people good jobs because of what he's accomplished there. Taylor Jenkins is a head coach. He coached under Budenholzer. Taylor Jenkins coaches Memphis. So I would hope, compared with what the LA Times has written, I would rather have that option. Here's what this guy wrote for the Times today. This guy's name's Dan Woike, and it was interesting in the sense, I mean, he reminded me of a good friend of mine, Mustafa Ahmad. And Mustafa, may Allah rest your soul. We would argue nonstop about the Lakers, whether small ball works, all kinds of stuff. And this is why I have to reset the argument, because Dan Woike wrote that he was marveling about how the Warriors should be the blueprint for the Lakers. And how, oh my gosh, Memphis, I'm watching playoff basketball. Memphis has really embraced the Grizzlies, and why hasn't LA bonded with the Lakers? Mr. Woike, if that's how your name is pronounced, so I'm not trying to disrespect your name, I'm going to disrespect your thought process. Everything you wrote was absolutely wrong. Everything. Your headline was wrong. Your musings are wrong. Golden State is not the roadmap for the Lakers. If the Lakers use Golden State as a blueprint, the Warriors will laugh their asses off, because only the Warriors have the personnel to run the Warriors' offense. The Lakers do not have that personnel. Here's why the Lakers are the opposite, the direct opposite of the Warriors' way of doing things. Aside from the fact that there's a tremendous height difference and the Warriors have to run constant motion to get the ball to an open man. Look, prior to Steve Kerr getting hired, Golden State was run by Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson's offense was to run one play, and use that play to try to get the ball to Steph Curry. Now, it sounds like a good idea because Steph Curry could shoot. But what if Steph Curry isn't open? Right? Well, then Jackson would have Curry run an isolation play. Curry would have to create his own shots. This is why Jackson got fired from Golden State. It's also why he wouldn't make a good coach for the Lakers. Why? Because if Curry couldn't create his own shot in isolation regularly. So Jackson had a plan A. What he didn't have was a plan B. Kerr, on the other hand, Steve Kerr, the current Warriors coach, he's been there for years, obviously. Curry got the job because he said, I can give you guys a plan B. The plan B from Steve Kerr, which, by the way, works for the Warriors but would not work in LA, is a hybrid triangle offense. Okay? What does that mean? Well, look at his playing career. He played under Phil Jackson of the Chicago Bulls. Phil Jackson swore by the triangle. But then later in his career, he goes over to San Antonio and he learns under Greg Popovich. This is a hybrid of what Phil Jackson would run and what Greg Popovich would run. The effect of running a triangle mixed in with some pick and rolls and whatnot, non-stop movement. That way, if Steph Curry doesn't have an open shot, somebody is moving. It's not isolation anymore. Curry has the option to find an open person to pass to. Other things to take note of with the difference between the Golden State Warriors and the Lakers. Compare it to the Lakers. The Lakers always run the pick and roll. They run a high-low game. They run the pick and roll with the center and with their top ball handler. In other words, with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. That is not the triangle. That is not motion offense. It is a two-man game. Two guys with three guys with the three other men on the periphery in case somebody draws the double team. The pick and roll is designed to create double teams and mismatches. That is not what the triangle does. The triangle uses motion to create open offense, open shots. This is designed to create mismatches. And oh, by the way, say you create a mismatch with LBJ, with Anthony Davis, hell, even if Russell Westbrook stays on the team. If you create a mismatch, that means you don't panic when you get the isolation play. LeBron James loves isolation plays in the pick and roll. So would Anthony Davis. Even Westbrook, if he's still on the team. So no, it is the direct opposite. The Lakers personnel is not designed to run a motion offense. On top of that, LeBron is 38. You're telling me you're going to have him run around that much more when he doesn't even have the ball? It's pointless for that team to run that offense. And don't get me wrong, it works for Golden State. It does. But like when Golden State runs their half-court set, most of the time, nobody's in the post. You're going to take Anthony Davis out of the post? Look, again, to get to the points, the way Golden State runs offense, it immediately knocks out Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson, who, by the way, interviewed for the Lakers job. Bad idea, because Mark Jackson doesn't have a plan B. Also, the personnel doesn't work with the motion. The players want isolation plays, and there's another big point to make about the Lakers. Trying to be like Golden State. They tried it before. When Mike D'Antoni was the coach. Mike D'Antoni, his final record as a Lakers coach, 67-87. It does not work. It's a stupid idea to have the Lakers play like the Warriors. Besides, the Warriors, what that also means, the Warriors would know what to expect. It's their offense. You don't think they haven't figured out how to defend themselves? Now, regarding the Lakers and not being embraced by LA, I just want to make this brief point. Because the Lakers have been embraced by LA for decades. They're just not being embraced now. Well, why is that? And why is Memphis embracing the Grizzlies? Well, because the Grizzlies finally don't suck. They have arguably they have somebody who may wind up being the best player in the game, Ja Morant, right? I would love the Memphis Grizzlies too if they had Ja Morant. I love the Memphis Grizzlies. I've been in Memphis a lot of times. It's a fun town. I like watching Grizzlies basketball, but that gym was empty before the playoffs. The playoffs are a different animal, and so is Ja Morant. If you want to know why the Lakers don't have a deep bond with LA at the moment, it's really simple. LA is seen as a glitzy town to outsiders, but people like me who have lived in LA is a blue-collar town. It's gritty, and we look at the Lakers as glitz, but they whine a lot. There was whining with Shaq. There was whining with Kobe. There's definitely whining with LeBron. We will put up when you whine, but you have to win. That is why the Lakers aren't being embraced at the moment. It's kind of like how Phil Jackson would put up with Dennis Rodman wearing a dress back in the day, back before being non-binary became a thing. You would put up with it because Dennis Rodman would perform and you'd win. The Lakers and their fans, winning plus whining means we're okay. Losing plus whining equals Amber Heard. And no man is going to be dating that woman for a long-ass time. I don't care how hot she is. It's not happening. The best thing for the Lakers is not to play like the Warriors. Just to make that point. I'm not claiming to know how they should play. I think I have an idea, but I don't want to say I know what the solution is. But they absolutely cannot play like the Warriors. If they try to mimic the Golden State Warriors, they will repeatedly lose to the Golden State Warriors. Only Golden State can play like Golden State and get away with it. The LA Times used to have one of the best NBA writers in the nation. You, pal, are no Mike Heiserman. Use your head before you write something that stupid. That was a good little rant for me. If you liked the content, or if you liked what I was just ranting about, thank you. Feel free to like and subscribe. My name is James. I'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corta El Queso production. Take care.